what is blah blah? And I say, well, blah blah is just what forms a contrast with glue glue. So we understand that glue glue means not blah blah, and blah blah means not glue glue. Then it's clear you haven't been told anything informative, right? You don't actually know. If you don't know what blah blah means, me telling you that glue glue means not blah blah doesn't tell you what glue glue means.
Freedom, like the choice only to do good, is no freedom.
Okay, but
Isn't it?
why would God...
Wait. Isn't it the case that God's omnipotence is the ability to actualize all logically possible states of affairs?
Yeah. And so Jack, you want God to...
So if God can actualize all logically possible states of affairs, what is the logical bar to God actualizing a world in which all creatures do the good?
Yeah, okay. So the answer to that question, Jack, is this, okay? God created the entire universe for what? For humans? No, he did not create the world for humans. He did not create the earth for humans. He did not create the natural universe for humans. He created the world for what purpose? For his own glory. Okay? This is first and foremost why he created the world. And so let me go on. And so when God permitted within his permissive will to sin, and therefore sin enter the world and therefore death. So what did God do? He devised a plan for him to what? To save uh, mankind. Okay, why? For his own glory. Okay, when he puts the disobedient and puts them in hell, what does that achieve? His glory. And so God, being omnipotent, he created all these things for the very simple purpose of his.
I've heard...
What was the question that I asked?
How did that address anything that he said?
Yeah, what was the question that I asked? Did you hear my
Yes,
question?
I did.
What was my question?
You asked basically like why did God not create a world in which
Didn't ask you
they can
that.
only do
I
good?
didn't ask you fucking that. I asked you what is the logical bar to God creating such a world, right? And you didn't fucking answer that question. So what's the answer to that?
What is the logical bar? I don't understand that question though.
If you didn't understand the question, why didn't you say that rather than waste our time with fucking nonsense that wasn't an answer to the question?
You did
Jack
not
just
use
means the
anything like logical
contradiction.
bar in your initial question.
Sorry. My question is, if you didn't understand what the question is, why didn't you say... No, I didn't fucking change the wording.
Look.
So what's the logical bar? What's the logical bar to God creating such a world?
Yeah, I don't understand that question.
I'm asking you, what's the contradiction entailed by God creating such a world?
What contradiction? Are you claiming there's a contradiction?
You're claiming there's a contradiction. Right, that's what he wants to know.
Look, this all started...
Wait, no, let's just ask him to answer the fucking question, right? What's the logical contradiction entailed by God creating such...
What? I'm not the one claiming contradiction of anything. Are you claiming?
Sorry, I thought you said that God can actualize any logically possible world, right? Yeah, so...
within his good nature, sure.
Right.
Yeah,
so what prevents God from actualizing a world like that if there's no logical contradiction?
Free will?
Wait a minute. Free will?
That you don't even hold to free will. You hold to this creaturely will thing.
No.
Yeah, but
we're talking
free
about the
will...
actions of God, are we not, Jack?
I don't see what free will has to do with it, right? If it's logically possible...
But he's contradicting.
If it's logically possible...
Jack.
You know, I realize he's contradicting himself, but the point is, I don't understand how free will is some kind of a bar to God actualizing it, right? Because it's not inconsistent with man's free will that they always choose the good, right? There's no logical inconsistency there.
Wait a minute. Are you talking
Wait, did
about?
John just
Wait,
say
hang
free
on,
will
Jack.
when
Are you
before he
talking
was
about
denying the?
men,
He
or are you talking
did,
about
yeah.
God? Hey, Jack. Are you talking about the actions of God, or are you talking about the actions of?
I asked, what's the logical bar to God creating a world in which all creatures do the good? And you said free will.
Wait a
But
minute. No, wait. Hang on. No, wait. Hang on. Hang on. You're asking about God, and so why did God create the world in which He did? Is that the
I'm
question?
asking,
No, the question.
what prevents God from creating a world in which all creatures do the
Yeah, free will.
great? I
I
don't see
mean,
how
I don't see how
free
free
will
will is
is not
inconsistent
inconsistent. Free will is not inconsistent with
God is
creatures
not
always choosing.
wait.
with choosing the
Is
good.
there a logical obligation for a God who has free will to create a world in which people can only choose
What do you mean by a logical obligation?
logical
I don't think a
necessity,
logical
logical
obligation exists.
obligation?
Yeah, there's a logical necessity if God is good.
Right.
I disagree.
Well, what does it mean to say that God is good if he doesn't actualize the best possible world?
Who says he hasn't?
Well, how is it that God can actualize a world in which there's evil in it, right? If what it means to be perfectly good, right, is to do what one has most reason to do.
Yeah, there's no logical necessity for God to create a world in which evil does not
Yeah,
exist.
how is that an answer to my question?
I made a statement. Are you claiming that
Did you not hear my question?
I absolutely heard your question?
Yeah, so why don't you answer it?
Your question assumes that God cannot create a world in which evil exists.
How does it assume that?
It assumes
There's
quite the
no
opposite,
necessity.
John.
Yeah, there's simply no logical necessity for a good God to create a world within his permissive will to not allow evil to exist in the world.
Well, wait a minute. I thought you said that he was perfectly good.
Absolutely.
Right, so that means that he seeks to minimize evil,
Not
right? And
necessarily.
given that there
Not necessarily.
so then what does it mean to say that he's good if he doesn't seek?
Now, when you say minimize evil, you're assuming that evil exists and therefore it's minimized. Are you?
I'm asking what it
What is
means
not
to
your
say
what's
that
not
he's
your
good.
argument?
I'm asking what it means to
Hang on.
say that
What's
he's
not your
good.
argument?
Stop
What's your
telling me to
argument?
hang on, right? I'm asking you a question,
Uh,
right?
I'm
So listen to the
answering you.
question
You
that
haven't
I'm
answered me,
asking.
Jack.
Stop over talking me. Listen to the question that I'm asking and then answer the question that I
I
ask.
was. You
Okay,
interrupted
question
me
I'm
in the midst of it.
stop over talking me. Okay, listen to the question that I'm asking and then answer the question that I
I could
ask.
leave if you want me to
What
leave.
does it mean? Stop. Yeah, you can fucking leave if you want, fucking dumbass. Because I know that you're a fucking dodger. I've dealt with you before, right? I know that you dodge. So if you want to dodge, if you want to run away and dodge because you can't answer the fucking objection, go and run away, you fucking piece of shit coward. I don't give a fuck if you run, right? So the question that I'm asking, if you're not going to run like the fucking dodging piece of shit that you are, is okay.
He ran.
He had to go walk his dog and then eat it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, you have just witnessed. It's just the
You've
height of.
just witnessed. You've just witnessed the height of dodging to a degree that not even Matt Slick in his good old days could have.
Wait. I just wanted to ask Jack, why do you have to be so aggressive again?
because he was dodging.
He
Well,
dodged. He
okay.
dodged me too.
Wait. Dodging is not justifying this kind of.
No, dude. Jack was patient with him. Did you just? I mean, were you just listening to the same conversation that we were all listening to? He asked the same question 3 different ways for the benefit of charity, dude. and he kind of lost his shit when John was.
No,
Rody, let
we
me
just
tell you this: with
That's
John,
a normal like
matter
reaction, right? That's a justified.
always goes in.
yeah, but I'm saying
You were not listening.
I was wondering. No, we.
So Jack, if
So yeah,
Well, my favorite thing about John.
wait, Siddharth, can you send it to me on Discord?
yeah, of course.
All right, thanks.
I mean,
Entirely unnecessary.
his best argument is that
What do you think is his best argument?
Oh, I don't know that he has any good arguments.
his best argument is that there was.
I never had a hero, but when I seen.
But why though? Like it's John Lee. Like what do you expect?
That morality is just a preference or a feeling that you have, then it could be grounded in that. Like you could say that's my morality.
No, but what is the grounding relation?
Yeah,
What is that relation?
but to say that amorality is right and amorality is wrong, right? From that perspective,
Well, what is the
then there
grounding?
would need
Look,
to be
you
to have
have
something
no.
to
You're not
measure it.
understanding the question, right? If you say A grounds B, right? What does that mean?
Yeah, I'll take back the statement grounding. What I'll say is that there should be a way to measure, our claim of what morality is or isn't. So we should be able to come to some terms about what the yardstick is. So if you acknowledge that that yardstick is purely what you feel, then everybody has their own yardstick, right?
Wait,
So
I
we
guess I
wouldn't
don't
necessarily
I don't
agree.
understand. Like, why would somebody accept that some proposition, some moral proposition was true or not, or some standard was the correct standard if it conflicted with their intuitions?
Yeah, they don't have to accept it. I'm
But
saying.
then I don't understand why you're appealing to something outside of intuitions, right? If it's all going to be based on intuitions anyway, what's the complaint? I don't get it.
Yeah, that's what I'm agreeing with you. If it's all based on your
No, you're
intuition,
not understanding, right? To say something is the correct moral standard, right? How would that be arrived at apart from intuition?
if there was a God, I think the only necessary conclusion is that this God would determine what the right moral.
What would God have to do with it, right? Because we
Like I
could
said,
ask the same question about God, right? What
no,
makes God the moral standard, right?
so obviously, what makes God the moral standard? If there is a creator, right? If there is a game designer, I don't ask why did the designer of Pac-Man
It's a
make
meaningful
make
question to
humans.
ask whether he designed the right game or not, right?
So did the guy who designed Pac-Man, or guy or girl who designed Pac-Man, did he design the right game?
Yeah, we can. When we say is a game a good game,
I
right?
didn't say is it a good
That's
game.
going to be a question.
No, I said did he
You're
design the
talking
right
about
game?
good. You're talking about moral goodness, right?
Yeah. So what is
Yeah. So it's a
what is
meaningful question to ask: is God morally good, right?
you know,
So saying God is the creator wouldn't answer that question, right?
so the reason I'm giving the game designer analogy is
Wait.
not
Well,
to say.
let's just stick to the question that
Yeah,
I asked,
just
right?
1 second. The reason why I'm giving the game designer analogy is not to say that in the game there is such a thing as morality. In the game, there are conditions that the game is bound by, and then there are objectives of the game, right?
So you're not
So
talking about
the
moral goodness, is
just
that
one
right?
second, just 1 second. I'll make the connection
Yeah,
for
but
you.
see the reason,
So
just why don't?
you got to allow me to
It's
finish the
just
point.
so tiresome the way you can't
If you
answer a
allow me to
fucking
finish the
question.
point, if you allow
Yeah,
me to
so you
finish the
can want to
point,
waste some more of my time. Okay, go ahead, waste some more of my time.
you're
Not
Jack,
entitled to
answering my
Jack,
not be here.
question.
Jack, can
It's
you
fine.
relax just a little
Yeah,
bit,
Jack, why
right?
do you find so emotionally
Just
charged, bro? Relax, man.
just a
Stop
little
flushing.
bit, man.
Why should I
Relax, bro.
relax when he's just not answering my fucking
Why are you
question?
swearing?
I mean, this
Just
has
be
happened
quiet.
so many times. I ask him a fucking question, and then he goes on for 5 minutes, doesn't answer my question,
He's
and
not
then I have
answering
to
the
repeat the
question.
question.
He's not answering the question the way that you like.
No, he's not answering the question. It's not the question of the way I like it or not. He's not answering the fucking question. Let's just get something clear, right? Are we talking about moral goodness or not? Is that what we're talking about? That's my question. Are we talking about moral goodness?
I don't think anyone wants to talk with you.
Why is so much
Why are you opening your mouth? I'm asking Rashad a question. Are we talking about moral goodness or not?
Because I can't understand what Rashad is saying because you keep interrupting him. That's
Why are you talking? I'm asking Rashad a question. Rashad, are we talking about moral goodness or not? Will you please stop over talking?
Previously,
Rashad, are we talking about moral goodness or not?
Yeah, I heard your question, Jack.
Yes, it's a yes or no question.
Previously, every question that you asked me, everything that
it's a yes or no question. The yes or no question. What's the answer?
And here you go again interrupting.
What's the answer to the question?
It's not much really.
Why are you dodging the question? Just answer the question. It's a yes or no question. Which is it? Are we talking about moral goodness or not?
Cool. You guys have a good one. If anyone else wants to talk, I don't mind.
I think this guy is an idiot.
Jack is going to have
This
a
Jack guy.
conversation.
I think he's an idiot.
Yes, fuck Iran.
All right, well, if you're not going to answer the question, I'll try to explain the problem for people who might be interested, right? See, it doesn't follow from the fact that, yeah, you could say God made certain rules, right? And just say that if we don't follow those rules, we'll be punished, right? But that's consistent with God being a bad being, right? So you're not actually solving any problem about arbitrariness, right?
Why would that make God a bad being?
Game will be equally arbitrary, right? It doesn't tell us whether God had good reasons for designing.
Why would that make God a bad being?
Excuse me?
Why would that make God a bad being?
I didn't say it would make God a bad being. I said it was consistent with him being a bad being. Right?
Why would that be consistent with him being a bad being?
Because there's a meaningful question about whether God is good or not. Bad beings can design games, right? And they can design rules for games.
Why? I didn't ask if it's a meaningful question. I asked, why is it consistent that God is a bad being?
Where's the inconsistency?
You're saying it's consistent. I'm asking you, why is it consistent?
Where is the inconsistency?
You're having trouble answering the question, Jack. Why
okay, look. Is it possible for a God to design a bad... Is it possible for a God...
Why is it consistent? Why are you not answering the question, Jack?
I'm telling you that it's not inconsistent because there's no contradiction. There's no... Yeah, it's consistent because there's no contradiction entailed in the idea of a being that is bad creating a game, right? That's why it's consistent.
To say that a being is bad is consistent because you're saying that a being is bad?
No, I didn't say that. I said there's no contradiction. Listen to what I'm saying, okay? There's no contradiction entailed. Stop over talking me, you fucking idiot. There's no contradiction entailed.
You see how it's not a meaningful
Shut
conversation?
up. Shut up. There's no contradiction entailed. There's no contradiction entailed by a bad being designing a game, right? Look, you said you were going to stop talking, and then you interrupted me. Now, what's the reason that you did that? What's the reason that you did that?
That it's not possible to have a meaningful conversation with someone when they act this way.
Are you going to stop talking or not?
I think you got the point.
Okay, so I'm just going to go back to what I was saying before, since that interruption clarified nothing, right? There's no inconsistency entailed by the idea of a bad being creating a game, right? So it doesn't actually solve any problem about arbitrariness or subjectivity to say that God designed the game, right? Because the point is that that's just subjectivity, right? That's just relativizing morality to one other subject, right? You were trying to object, well, it's just going to be all opinion unless it's God, right? But of course, all you're doing is picking out one agent among the multitude of different agents that there are and saying, these are the correct moral rules, right? That's equally arbitrary. So you're not solving any problem of overcoming arbitrariness by trying to, as you originally put it, ground morality in God, whatever that means, because of course you retracted the claim when we asked you what the grounding relation was, right?
Yeah, he just seems a little bit confused. I was talking to him about libertarian free will, and he kept saying that under libertarian free will, you don't have to appeal to brute contingency.
Yeah, that just
What are
means
you
he
even
doesn't
talking?
understand what libertarian free
What are
will
you even
is.
talking about? I'll show you the recording later.
I don't understand why you guys are talking about morality when we're talking about like the topic is about, do atheists have a burden of proof, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, morality in itself. I mean, why, like, if we want to discuss about atheism, etc., I think we should start with the basics, right? The main idea of, I mean, the main idea that atheists hold, that God doesn't exist, right? Morality in itself is something that comes later, right? But
Right.
I
I
think we
think
should start with
right.
God, obviously, first, right?
Everyone in the room, I think, agreed that atheists don't have the burden of proof. So then the next iteration of that was, yeah, but if you're going to say that Christianity is a bad system, then it would behoove you to come up with your own system. So that you have a burden, there's a personal burden, right, to come up with a system that you believe to be better than Christianity.
Jack, I was talking to that guy last night.
Which guy?
The guy you were talking to, Rashawn.
Oh,
It was him and like John Lee. I was talking to John for like an hour. I was asking him why the property of intelligibility, or sorry, the property of being always truth revealing is necessary for intelligibility. And he affirmed not only, okay,
thank you.
get
Thank you.
this.
Thank you so much.
So, you know, I asked this question to like Jay Robin, Matt Yester, Jay Dyer. None of them actually had an answer. Meanwhile, every single one of them affirmed absolutely you can't have intelligibility if he tells one lie.
Right.
Right. So I asked John Lee, I was like, well, you said you're sympathetic to this precept stuff. Do you agree with this? That being always truth revealing, not even telling one lie, makes intelligibility impossible? And he was like, yeah, I believe that. I was like, why? He's like, I can't tell you. I was like, what are you talking about? And then he elaborated, not only does he think that it's impossible to have intelligibility if he lies even one time, he said that the world would cease to exist, like every single thing would disintegrate and implode.
What a moron.
That's hilarious.
Then I asked him, why do you think that? He said, I can't answer that question.
Jack, do you know what the Rashad guy was saying earlier when he was talking about libertarian